The following is a paid program for Principal Preservation Services, LLC.
Here's what's coming up on Retirement Reality Roadmap with Mike Koyanen.
And we find a lot of advisors sold it and they don't talk with the clients anymore because they made their commission, they don't make anything else anymore, and they just kind of push you off to the side.
The issue is at some point, your health is probably going to fail you at some point, and it's nice to have the coverage.
Joe, that's never going to happen. No, it's never going to fail.
Not to you.
It's never going to happen.
When people talk about annuities, they get a little bent out of shape with that term annuity. First of all, if you have Social Security, that's an annuity. If you have a pension, that's an annuity. These are annuities as well, but no fees. These are designed for accumulation.
And now, the host of Retirement Reality Roadmap.
Hi, welcome to this week's show.
We've got 30 minutes of great information designed just for you.
So don't go anywhere. The show starts right now.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Ask the Advisor. Were you the Twin Cities area? Email your questions into us, and we answer them right here on the show. Gentlemen, are we ready for some good questions?
Yeah, we're ready.
Here we go. Mike, my first one is for you, and it's from Roberta in Woodbury, and she writes, my husband has already retired, and I will be retiring in the next 3 years. My husband has been a DIY investor and has done all right for us through the years. That being said, I want us to both see a licensed advisor, if for no other reason than to hear everything is okay. How can I convince him to do this?
Yeah, there's a great question, Roberta, and there's a lot of things that's kind of wrapped up into that as well. So DIY investors, sometimes they just don't want to talk to advisors, but it's a mutual retirement. And so it's not just his stuff, it's your stuff as well. So you want to find somebody who you can work with. And, unfortunately, husband and wives don't pass away at the same time, and we hope you both live a long life. But reality is, what happens if something happens to your husband? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go to? Because you're probably not going to be a DIYer like your husband is. And you also want to enjoy retirement. It's hard to understand all the rules with the retirement, the distribution rules, the RMD rules, the tax rules when it comes to retirement. And what about those old 401ks that you probably have with your employer? Is he going to just self-manage those? Are you going to roll those over? So I treat it like if you had a knee replacement or you had maybe a bad report from a doctor, you're going to get a second opinion. Find another advisor to get a second opinion. This is your retirement. You've been working 35, 40 years. You want to make sure that you're on the right path and you do the right things.
It's funny because I imagine, Mike, part of your role is marriage counselor.
Yes.
Maybe even marriage therapist, right? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong here, maybe one is more conservative or maybe one is riskier. How do you bring these people together?
Yeah, that happens a lot. Usually we have somebody who is high risk and somebody who's risk adverse, and we have to have that happy medium. And we have to help the other one understand the other. There's many times we've been in the office and the wife maybe doesn't know exactly what they even have. The husband says, we don't have much saved for retirement, and they find out they have millions. And we see this the elbow's going on. You never told me any of this, right? We don't have enough saved for retirement. The key is this is a mutual retirement plan, right? It's not just one, it's not somebody wins and somebody loses, you both win. And you have to talk about your retirement plan together.
Thanks, Mike. Tate, my next question is for you, and it's from Geraldine in Hudson, and she writes, you keep talking about how you can use life insurance for tax-free income in retirement. How does that actually work?
Yeah, well, Geraldine, thank you for writing into the show. We always appreciate viewers writing into us. Tax-free life insurance is a topic that has really come about in the last couple years specifically, and how that is positioned in a retirement plan overall. When we're talking about tax-free life insurance, we're really getting to the nitty-gritty of indexed universal life insurance. There's specifics that I'm not going to go into on the show because we don't have time for it. It takes a long time. But you basically take a loan against the life insurance company to yourself to give you tax-free income, and then your policy is making interest in a specific index within the stock market, and it's paying you that back. And hopefully you're making a better rate of return than the interest rate that the life insurance company is charging you, right?
Thanks, Tate. And Mike, my last question is for you. It's from Carl in Stillwater. And he writes, I'm concerned that all of my annuities are variable annuities. I called my advisor and he said that there's only a 1 to 1.5% fee on them. How can I check to make sure?
Well, first of all, Carl, thanks again for writing in. But on the statements, typically at the top, it should list if it's a variable annuity or an index annuity. What I usually recommend is come into the office and bring the statements in. We'll call the companies, not the advisor who sold it, but the companies who hold your money, and we're going to ask all the questions. I'll be on the phone with you. I'll make all the questions, write them all down. When we're all done, we're going to just break it all down and help you understand in about 15 minutes what you have. Is it a safe index annuity? Is it at risk variable annuity? And if it's a variable annuity, I really doubt the fees are 1.5%. He might just be referring to the fees that are only listed on the statement. There's a lot more fees when it comes to variable annuities, typically 3 to 4% in fees.
You know, Mike, and you make a real important distinction there that we're going to do this and the person that is advising you, they're not going to know.
No.
Okay, so I think maybe sometimes people are fearful, like, oh goodness, my advisor is going to find out that I'm asking questions behind their back, right? I'm cheating on my advisor in some way. Well, what could be further from the truth than finding out what the actual truth is about what is in your portfolio and to find out if it's healthy for you and your plan and your goal, right?
Exactly. And it doesn't matter if it's an index annuity or a variable annuity. You need to find out which one is accurate. It's not a set it and forget it anyways. You should be meeting with your advisor every year and understanding what you have. Most likely, if it's a variable annuity, you have an income rider, and you know this. You need to know the specific date that income rider starts. And we find a lot of advisors sold it, and they don't talk with the clients anymore because they made their commission, they don't make anything else anymore, and they just kind of push you off to the side.
Gosh, we don't like it when that happens, Mike, do we?
No, we don't.
Mike, Tate, thank you so much. If you'd like more information about anything we spoke about here today, hey, give us a call in the office or go to our website. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're watching Retirement Reality Roadmap with Mike Koyanen.
Are you unleashing the possibilities of your assets in retirement? Hi, I'm Mike Koyanen of Principal Preservation Services, and we've been helping families with their retirement goals and dreams since 2014. We specialize in comprehensive wealth management strategies and retirement planning. Together, let's create a cohesive plan and maximize your assets in retirement. Call today or scan the QR code on the screen to set up your complimentary visit. Principal Preservation Services, where retirement dreams become reality.
Welcome to this week's Retirement Reality University. Gosh, we always have great topics, Mike. And the reason I love this one, the 3-bucket strategy, is it's all about balance.
Right.
Too many times, and not to the fault of the investor or the family or the pre-retiree or the retiree. Hey, they have a job. They're whatever they are, doctor, nurse, fireman, whatever. Mm-hmm. Their job is to be good at what they do,
right.
Not to be like, hey, I'm going to go over every ounce of my portfolio and make sure that I'm balanced. That's not their job. Right. Their job is to hire an advisor to come in to take a look at what they have and ensure that what they have is going to take them and their family to their retirement dreams and goals.
Exactly.
Keep them safe.
Right.
Keep them safe. So what we're going to talk about today is the 3-bucket strategy. And you and I, we've had this conversation before where it tends to be a little heavier into one area here
right.
than maybe is necessary. So I'm going to hand it over to you to talk about red, yellow, green, and why it's important to have balance in there.
Well, first of all, I think most advisors, they talk about diversification with the client's portfolio, which is a big topic, and we want diversification, but why do they only look at the red bucket? They only focus on diversification here, but we want to take that 30,000 feet view and look at your finances holistically through all 3 buckets. So this is a typical situation, Mark, where somebody comes in the office, 74%, I've seen it high as 99% of their money all in the red bucket. We have the stocks, you have the bonds, you have the mutual funds, the ETFs, the variable annuities, and so on. And people argue with me a little bit with the bonds, and they say, well, bonds are safe. Why is it in the risk bucket? I said, did you lose any money in the last few years? Well, yeah. I said, well, there you go. It belongs in the red bucket. Anytime you can lose money, it belongs in this red bucket.
You know, it's funny because you bring up an important word here, and that safe. Mm-hmm. What, as far as all of this is concerned, what does the term safe mean to Mike?
No losses whatsoever.
No losses whatsoever.
Right.
None. Not
None.
1% down, zero.
Right. And no fees.
And so, was there ever a time where bonds could be put into that safe world? Because they were, for decades, Mike.
Right.
You had your bond portfolio. That was the safe part. Why is that not anymore?
Well, we look at the interest rate environment from the 80s when, the mortgage rates. My first mortgage was about 7.5%, but, we have some clients that were paying 18, 22% interest rates on their mortgage in the 80s. Well, then we saw the reduction of interest rates from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and just to a few years ago, we bottomed out. A 30-year mortgage 3.5 years ago was 2.65%. And then it just went up to 7.25. Now we're seeing these mortgage rates start to come down, but it's going to be a long process. So yes, we could put bonds in that situation back in the 80s, 90s, because interest rates were coming down, and they were making a nice return, a little yield with some positive growth because interest rates go down, bond values go up, inversely proportional.
So let's take the middle bucket here because, it's important. I need to have an emergency fund. I need to have some liquid for whatever it's going to be. And some people feel more comfortable with more money in the bank. Certainly there's a cap limit, with the whole lazy money thing. You don't want to have all your money there because what is the joke? You're losing money safely at the bank because you're not keeping up with inflation, so your money actually becomes less, right? Because,
exactly.
Okay. But checking, savings, money market, mattress money,
CDs.
It's important to have that. And what do you recommend for your clients as to that sort of emergency fund of keeping yourself liquid to what degree?
Yeah, and this might be a little bit heavy here on the yellow bucket. Let's just say you had $1 million portfolio, 26% would be $260,000. That's heavy. Typically what we're looking in this yellow bucket is 3 to 6 months of your expenses in that yellow bucket if you're working. If you're retired, 6 to 12 months, because now you're on that fixed income. Every time you have an emergency, the last thing you want to do is pull money from your IRAs. You don't want that. You want that in this emergency bucket.
And why don't you want to pull your money from the IRA? Because
it's taxable.
It's taxable.
It's taxable. And then you play this game. You pay taxes, and then next year you do tax returns. Oh, I got to take out money on my IRA to pay taxes for the for the distribution I took the previous year. And it's a constant cycle.
You know what this reminds me of, Mike? When you sleep well at night, it's because you know everything's good, right? Nothing's disturbing you. When you get this balance right, okay, you don't have too much risk. You got enough in here to take care of the 6 to 12 month problems, and they're going to come.
Right.
I got to replace the AC, the car, whatever it's going to be.
Right.
And then let's talk about this last one here, because I think this is really what kind of tucks you in at night and makes you feel safe, that I am principal protected. Your words, safe, mean cannot lose money. Let's talk about this bucket.
Yeah. And the banks can't lose money as well. But what we're saying is can't lose money, no fees, and also keeping up and beating inflation. That's important in retirement. So that's where we use the FIAs. FIAs are our bond replacement for maybe your grandparents or great-grandparents'
Oh, I like
generation.
that, bond replacement.
Bond replacement.
Yeah.
So fixed index annuity, no fees, no risk, partially liquid. So when people talk about annuities, they get a little bent out of shape with that term annuity. First of all, if you have Social Security, that's annuity. If you have a pension, that's an annuity. These are annuities as well, but no fees. These are designed for accumulation. You want to be in that 5 to 7% average return on those. We use them for accumulation. We don't use them for income riders like a lot of other people do.
And I'm going to ask you this. You're the fiduciary here, not me. The strides and improvements that have been made in the senior market for the FIA, this has really become quite a tool in the toolbox for advisors to create security and strength for their clients. It's worthy of looking into and reading about because all of the developments that have taken place in there. Fair statement?
Fair statement. They've been around for over 30 years and they keep constantly making better and better. And so today, the FIAs are a lot better than what you could have got 10, 20 years ago, for sure.
Mike, thank you so much. Man, so many great topics today in our university class. 3-bucket strategy. What are you currently doing with your portfolio? Do you need a second set of eyes to take a peek? Let Mike and his team take a peek for you. Hey, give us a call in the office or go to our website. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're watching Retirement Reality Roadmap with Mike Koyanen.
Now more than ever, it's vitally important to review your current retirement plan and get an educated second opinion. Hi, I'm Mike Koyanen, and for many people close to or in retirement, this is a confusing time. As a local business here in the Twin Cities for over a decade, we have educated thousands of families on how to retire well through all market conditions. Let us help you. Call now or scan the QR code on the screen to schedule your complimentary consultation. Principal Preservation Services, where retirement dreams become reality.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Retirement True or False. Gentlemen, I've got some great questions this week. Mike, I'll begin with you.
Okay.
All financial advisors must act on behalf of their clients' best interests. True or false?
Unfortunately, that's a big false. Most people think all advisors are the same. They have to. That's not true. We are not broker-dealers. We are fiduciary. So I have the license to give advice. Joe has the license to give advice here. So we have to put our clients' best interest first. A lot of the advisors out there, which is about 95% of advisors out there, are not in that same ball of wax that we're a part of. They are fiduciaries to the company they work for, not to the client. And so there's a good, some tells, right? There's some tells. What are they selling you? That will tell you, are they putting your best interest first? Did they sell you a variable annuity? Did they sell you a non-traded REIT? Did they sell you a Class A or Class C mutual fund? Things that we will not even offer our clients because we can't. We're fiduciaries. We have to put your best interest first.
That's a great 50-cent word, right? That's out there right now, the term fiduciary.
Yeah.
Mike, I want you to take a second and talk about suitability versus fiduciary. And if I have it correct, the suitability, like the other folks that you're talking about, they're a fiduciary to a stockholder, right?
Yeah.
They've got to bring in the correct revenue for that firm to appease stockholders.
Exactly.
Who's your stockholder?
It's our clients.
Your clients.
It's our
That's
clients.
the fiduciary, right? It's individually specific to every family that comes in. We're going to create something custom for them that works to get them to their goals. How'd I do? Did I do okay on that one?
That's really good. Think about it almost if you have a trust. You choose successor trustees, so when you pass, they're going to act as your best interest. Exactly what you put in that trust, they have to follow that out. We have to do the same thing with our clients.
Joe, my next question is for you, and it is, most retirees and pre-retirees have planned for their potential health-related expenses in retirement. True or false?
That'd be a big false.
Yeah.
Big false here. I think what a lot of clients or prospective clients we see, coming through the office, you're just kind of hoping for the best in retirement as far as your health concerns go. You feel good now. So it's one of those things you can push off until later, in your mind. The issue is at some point, your health is probably going to fail you at some point, and it's nice to have the coverage.
Joe, that's never going to happen, mate. It's never going to fail.
Not to you.
It's never going to happen.
But yeah, and I think a big part of it is a lot of individuals just don't want to take on the additional expense, right now in life to be covered later on for healthcare expenses. So.
And I think there's a real important piece in here, and we've discussed this in other shows, the importance of at least getting the information necessary to make a decision, right? We don't want to think about mortality, and we don't want to think about the fact that as we get older, Father Time's going to win. Right. Father Time wins 100% of the time.
100%.
So why not at least, Joe, get the information so that you can make a decision, right? You can hide from it, or you can say, okay, the reality is this could effectively cost me this much in retirement. These are the monies I have. Now you have the information necessary to make a choice,
Exactly.
right? And that's why go see an advisor. Go get that worked out. Mike, my last question is for you. I've got about a minute for this.
Okay.
If you leave a company, you should leave your 401k there as well. True or false?
Big false. I'm not a fan of these employer-sponsored plans. As soon as you can get your money out of it, get your money out of there. So when you're 59 and a half and it's still working, roll it. If you retire, roll it. If it's a previous employer, roll it into an IRA. A couple things we've talked about before in the past, which is the allocation options they give you. They give you 15, maybe 20 investment options. You might not like one of them, maybe cash. That might be the one you like, the safety one that earns you 2 or 3%. But the key is get in some investments that are more fitting for you. Get a risk assessment done. Find out how you should be investing. Protection on the downside, which you can get from a 401k plan. Now you get an advisor putting it part of the plan. Now you get out of the field of investments. Now you still have investments, but now it's part of a plan. And now you have somebody who can work with you on the taxes and RMDs and income tax brackets to maximize or the brackets or do whatever we have to do with Roth conversions and make things simple for you.
Is it really difficult, Mike? Do I have to make like 10 phone calls to roll my phone? I got to fill out hours of paperwork.
We do all that for you.
Someone's going to yell at me.
No.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't move forward because like, I don't want the headache of it. I'm going to have to fill out these 10 pages and I'm going to have to talk to 10 people and someone's going to yell at me, why are you taking your money? So how does it actually work?
Yeah, it's real simple. We do all the paperwork. So some of the companies these days, they're just doing over the phone call. And we're on the phone call with one of these 401k companies and 3 minutes later we're done. And they go, that's it? I just moved $1 million like that? And
We're
I go,
done.
That's it? They did a verification code to their phone and they verified who they were. Or sometimes we just log in on the internet and we do it that way. Sometimes there's some paperwork involved, but we do all that to make it simple and stress-free.
Mike, Joe, thanks so much. If you liked what you heard today, hey, give us a call in the office. We'd love to start a conversation with you, or you can go to our website. But most importantly, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're watching Retirement Reality Roadmap with Mike Koyanen.
And welcome back to Retirement Reality Radio. Mike, good to have you. We're back from the break right now. And my goodness, do we have a really important topic to go over here. And it's 5 reasons to roll over your 401k to your IRA. You know, what we find, I think, for the most part is you see people, they don't maybe understand the importance of once they've left that job, that their money should in fact follow them because for a whole bunch of reasons. So I'm just going to take the first one right now. And this is a biggie. It's lowering fees.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that they actually have fees on their 401k because it's not a line item on their statements. Most people on average are paying about 2.22% based off of the research that Smart Asset has done on 401k plans. But when you leave the employer, a lot of those fees that are paid by the employer actually go on to the employee when they leave. So your fees actually go up typically into retirement.
You know, and I always like to put fees out of a percentage and put them into an actual number. Because you say 1%, 2%, oh, that's a 1%, Mike, how big could that be? But if I take 500,000 and I use your example of 2.2 in fees, is that 12,000? Did I do my math correctly in my head here? So that's 12,000 in fees on a 500,000, right, investment, and times 10 years.
It adds up.
That is a whole lot of fees that you're paying on that. So making that move down to 1% or less than that by moving, that could have an extraordinary impact on your retirement over time because those monies are no longer leaving. They're staying there and they're, in theory, compounding over time, right?
Right. I agree. And a lot of these 401k plans are made up of mutual funds and not ETFs, so the cost of the holdings are more expensive typically than what you find outside of the employer-sponsored plans.
You know, so that gets us to our next one here, which is active management. First of all, tell me, what is, so our listeners understand, what does the term active management actually mean, and why is that important here?
Yeah, the exact opposite of what's happening in those 401k plans. You are your own advisor. You are managing your own accounts. You are picking your own investments in there. When you work with an advisor, we have a team of people who are watching over the portfolio, and we have some portfolios that will actually limit the losses in a down market, which one of our favorite portfolios we offer our clients, if it fits in your risk model, that it has a maximum loss of 18%. So what if the S&P 500 lost 50%? You're subject to that worse at 18%. So that's what active management can do as opposed to the whole buy and hold mentality, ride the market up, ride the market down. I'm not a fan of that in retirement.
So, Mike, I'll go one step further here with the active management piece. You know, I have a 401k, and once a year I get the letter, pick your this and that. I'm like, how do I know what to pick? Exactly. You know, it literally says this one's aggressive, this one's moderate, this one's conservative. But unless I do a lot of research on my own, you know, I'm like you, I'm a busy person like most people. What am I supposed to do? Do research on my own to find out what's going to be happening here? So thankfully I have a financial advisor who tells me, hey, this is based on your goals. This is what you should be picking out of that. But, you know, the caveat emptor here, right? So another great reason potentially to move that 401k is that you're going to have someone very knowledgeable, moving it into a better product mix for you that, again, I always get back to this point, Mike. Is it does this investment match my goal, my pathway to my goal? Right?
Exactly.
And I think that's what a lot of investors need to be asking themselves is, does this array of products match my pathway to my goal? Because I think when you dig below the surface, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, will you find this with people, especially if you meet them for the first time, that what they have does not match that pathway. Fair statement.
Fair statement. And it's so tough in those 401k plans because sometimes they don't even tell you what the risk is, or they use a heat reward risk map, heat map, cool, warm, hot. That's not how you invest your money today.
Right.
Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it hot? Depending on the risk. So the problem with those 401ks, they have 15, 20 options, and half of those are target date funds. And some people think those are actively managed. They are not. What it does is every year you get closer to that target date, just say that's 2030, they just transition more money into bonds. Every year you get closer, which the last few years has been a travesty. So people thought they were actively managed and people have been losing. So the allocation options are very frustrating for me. Why would you want to keep your money limited to 15 or 20 options that your employer chose and you're not even there anymore?
Mike, I'm 57. I'm going to be 59 and a half soon, which opens up a new realm of things for me in that world. But I think a lot of people might say, well, I'm here and I'm contributing. If I take money out, that's probably going to affect me adversely. But at 59 and a half, for most 401ks, there's a very special window that opens up. What is that window?
Yeah, the IRS says you're old enough to actually take control over your dollars, your retirement dollars. You can actually do an in-service rollover from your 401k into an IRA, tax-free. There might be a $25 fee maybe that's included with that. But now you have a whole gamut of investment options that you don't have with your employer. And it's tax-free. A lot of the employers are not sharing that with the employees. I think some of them have minimums, otherwise the fees go up, so they don't want to tell you about it. They want to keep those assets there. But that is a great opportunity. And I said you should do that at 59 and a half. And even if you're not retiring till 65, roll it over. And you can do that every year or every couple of years if you want to put them in some better options than we have today.
How does that affect my match? If I have a 4, 5, 6% match, how does that affect it?
It doesn't affect it at all.
No effect, right? No effect.
No effect at all.
So would there be something adverse? Like, why wouldn't somebody roll their money at 59 and a half if they have better opportunities with their money?
It's just lack of understanding, basically, is what it is. They just don't know. And most people, when we do the in-service rollovers, they panic a little bit. So I'm going to make my contributions to you now in the IRA. I go, no. It still goes into the 401k. You still get the match. Only your employer can close that account, not us, not you.
All right, folks, we'll be back after the break here. You're listening to Retirement Reality Radio, the Twin Cities Retirement Radio.
You're watching Retirement Reality Roadmap with Mike Koyanen.
Thank you for watching this week's show.
And if you want information regarding anything we spoke about here today, hey, give us a call in the office or go to our website.
Principal Preservation Services, where retirement dreams become a reality.
The preceding program is sponsored by Principal Preservation Services, LLC.